Awesome. Welcome, everybody. I'm so excited to have you here. Thank you so much for joining me for the Relationship Reset. I am stoked about this webinar. I plan to have more in the future, not necessarily around this, but if this is successful, then maybe I'll run this again in the future. But first, I want to welcome you all. And before we get started, I just want to do a little grounding exercise so that you can just let go of your whole day and just be present. If you're driving, don't close your eyes. But if you're in your home, whether you're sitting or standing, preferably sitting, get comfortable, close your eyes, and just take 3 slow, deep breaths with me. Now, when you breathe in, hold at the top and then breathe out your mouth. We're going to do 3 of these just to calm and relax our body and the nervous system. So just a deep breath in your nose, hold at the top, out the mouth. Again, breathe in the nose, hold at the top, out the mouth. One more. In the nose, hold, out. Just to help relieve the tension from the day. You can place your hand on your heart when you do that at any time. Think of it as one thing that you might appreciate about your partner or your child. Feel into that gratitude of what it is that you're grateful for. Just let it flow. No judgments. Just let everything relax and fade. Take one more deep breath. Hold. Release. And what brought you together? Think about what brought the two of you together, what ignited you, how did you feel when you first met each other? And what really lit you on fire? What is it that you love the most? Feel into that for a moment before we get started. Keep your eyes closed, just relax, keep breathing deep. And just feel that gratitude for when you first met, what you felt, what you saw. What did you smell? What were you wearing? Just feel into that for a moment. And now we're going to set a simple intention for our time together to listen and understand, not to fix or judge, and ask yourself quietly, what is one thing that you truly want to understand about your partner, your child right now? So this is mainly around partners, but it could be a child if you don't have a partner. So that's why I reflect on both. Hold that question close. Again, what is one thing that you truly want to understand about your partner? It will guide through the moments when things get tough. So remember, when frustration or overwhelm arise, pause, take a breath, just like we practiced, and anchor into gratitude, something that you're grateful for. Take a step back, just enough to notice your emotions without reacting. And you can open your eyes and relax. Just take this pause and see this pause is actually your first takeaway. Use this regularly as a reset button. So whether you're at work or at home with your partner, with your kids, if you find yourself getting tense or find yourself getting emotional, pause. Don't react. Just take a pause, take a breath, and feel into gratitude, something that you're grateful for. And just take a breath. If you have to, tell them, just give me a moment and use it. It can change the trajectory of your entire interaction from that moment. The minute you feel that irritation, and frustration, this can be a trigger to help calm the nervous system instantly. Now, I want to share a document with you. Just let me get it up here. And I will be providing you with this when our session is all over. So you will get a copy of this as well. But this here is just a little guide that I'm going to walk through right now. So just take a moment because intimacy comes from connection. I talked about this is a connection to be able to reconnect, to be able to build communication, which builds intimacy. But intimacy doesn't happen like that. Lust can happen like that, but intimacy, true intimacy, comes from connection and that feeling of safety. So when you have connection and safety, it doesn't happen by accident. And here are some phrases and some takeaways that you can use right now in your relationship. So, whether you're having moments of frustration or irritation, maybe you're arguing or fighting a lot, take that breath, take a moment, share this video with your partner, with your spouse, because when they understand and if they want to help build things and reignite, this will help them as well. And if you can do it together, even better. But just take a pause, take a moment, take a breath. And when you feel, like I say, that irritation, help me understand what you're feeling right now. Because what they're thinking isn't really their driving force, it's their emotions. So if you're finding that you're getting intense conversations, what are you feeling right now to help slow down that friction? Here's another one. I want to hear and understand your side because you matter to me. This is huge because we have perspectives, and especially as couples, we tend to start to assume and we take things for granted and we think we know, but really we don't. They're not windows, they're doors. They're a human being with emotions, and all we can do is read their body language. No matter how well you think you know somebody, there's always another perspective. So pause for a minute and understand that what you're getting may not be what's realistic for them. So pause and ask for that understanding. You know, can we take a moment together and just pause, take a breather together? For me and my husband and I, like if we feel that tension starting, I will stop, he will stop and say, I need a minute. I need a moment. Let's just take a break for a minute and recollect. Here's another one. I want us to feel safe and trust again, especially if that trust has been damaged. How can I support you right now? Because understand when you're starting to feel friction or you're starting to feel tension, or even if you're just disconnected, support helps rebuild that trust. That trust builds the connection, which builds the communication and intimacy. You can see the ripple effect. Here's another one. I notice I'm feeling overwhelmed. I love this one because I used to feel overwhelmed a lot. I need a moment to rest. Can you join me and take a breath? Or can you just give me a minute so I can take a breath? Because if they're not overwhelmed, they may not need the breath. But I needed the breath. I needed it a lot. And if you're here together today, then you can help each other in this whole process. Like I say, you'll get the replay, so you can certainly share it with your spouse after the fact. But when tensions rise and you notice it, just say to each other, I feel the tension rising. Call it out. Say, can we just take a moment? Can we just take a breath before we continue? So another thing that you can do is pick one or two that feel natural to you out of those questions that you can ask your partner, and mix it up and practice it. Make it flow naturally for you. Make it work for you. You don't want to be reading a script. It doesn't feel natural, but have it feel natural. If your partner is not seeing this and they don't get a chance to watch the replay and you find there's tension happening, say, you know what? No judgment. I just need a moment. I just need a moment. Can you give me a moment so I can breathe? And go do, like, leave the room if you have to, but go take a breath. Here's some things that you can take with you right now. And that creates emotional safety. And that isn't created or fixed overnight. If you're arguing, it can create presence and curiosity and respect when you take those moments. Now, I'll give you just a few minutes if you want to start writing some stuff down. I'll just kind of talk through it as well. This is why I recommend you bring a notebook or your device if you like to record things on your device. But just take 5 minutes and I want you to do a quick reflection and write down your answer to these questions. Which phrase? I just want to make sure I've got this document flowing for you. Hang on 1 second here. here's your reflection questions here. So just take a moment and answer these questions. Which phrase or idea feel most natural and doable for you right now? Out of those questions, maybe you can come up with your own. But write down some, or even, like I say, rephrase them of what works naturally for you. Is it, I feel the tension rise, and again, can we just take a breather? And understand there's always other perspectives. So getting curious and wanting to understand that other perspective is massively huge. Because that book that if you haven't read it, I know you've heard of it. Men are from Venus, women are from Mars, or men are from Mars, women are from Venus. It's true. We do not think or process alike. We do things very differently. My husband and I, when it comes to fixing things, we're both logical, but how he pieces things together is different from how I piece things together. And when our relationship was early on, we'd butt heads trying to fix something because I would have my way of doing it, he would have his way of doing it. Both were not wrong, just one was a little bit harder than the other. I always felt I was right. He always felt he was right. And when it came to stepping into fixing something, he might have felt like I was interfering with his manhood, especially if it was mechanical or um, anything dexterous, like as far as building something. If I had a better way, it would be a little bit frustrating and irritating for him because that was his thing. So I had to learn to take a step back and not get involved when he was doing stuff unless he asked for my help. No, it's not that we can't spend time together doing things together, but if it was a project that was his, that he was working on, that was his baby, I had to learn to take a step back. So now, when we do come together and build things like the gazebo, for example, required more than one person, required some help. And how we pieced that together was different. So whenever tensions rose, I would take a breath. I would ask him to take a breath because he's up on the ladder. I did not want him to fall. And he's holding like heavy frameworks to get this peaked ceiling together. And I would take a breath and I'm like, can you just stop, pause, take a breath and listen to what I think might work and be easier? And we got through it. Tensions would rise, they would fall very quickly because we would call it out as we felt it happening. Here's another one. What small moment in your day can you bring this new practice into in your relationship? Now, this is also something you can take outside of your partner. You can use it with your kids, you can use it with your coworkers, use it in your business, you can use it with customers that get frustrated and irritated. Just say, can we take a moment and just breathe it out and help me understand your perspective? What's making you feel this way right now? And the third is, how will you remind yourself to pause and reset before reacting? This is key because awareness is everything. Awareness is everything because even Dr. Phil used to say this a lot. You cannot change that which you do not acknowledge. So the best way that I found that helped me remind myself, and it's a practice, it doesn't happen overnight, is pay attention to the body. Like this physical vessel is your messenger machine. Because when you start into an argument and or if you start that friction, you feel it in your body first before it ever happens. Your feelings control your outward, literally, environment. So if you're in a conversation and everything's calm, you're relaxed, your nervous system is chill. But the minute you start to have a disagreement, or if you don't agree with something that's been said, your body gets tight, it gets restricted. You feel that tension like start to build. And if you don't pause, your nervous system keeps brewing. And then the voice gets louder. For us women, the looks in our faces, our eyes. I can literally read a room with my eyes, and people can tell I'm in a happy mood or a bad mood just from my eyes and my facial expressions. So I project very easily what I'm feeling. So if I'm frustrated, irritated, or annoyed, it shows. And us women can do that really well for the most part. But some of us are the opposite, where we shut down. We just we don't have that friction. We just stop communicating altogether. This is my daughter. So, how can you start to remind yourself before you start reacting? And it's in the body. Start paying attention to your physical body. What is irritating you? Are you rehashing something that happened throughout your day and going home irritated already? So that the minute you and your spouse start to have a conversation, there's friction already because of something you've carried home. And how can you not carry that home? Through the breath work, the reset. I know I was working very high stress environment in 2021, 2022, and I had to literally do a huge breath work before I entered work and huge breath work before I left work to leave it there. And I would have a little mantra that I would tell myself just to release everything and let it all go. So that's what I would do every day before I stepped into my workplace. I'd stay in my car, do breath work, a little mantra, get myself in a good state, make sure I wasn't already irritated. And coming home, before I left the building and hopped in my car, I would do the same thing. Or I would do it on my way walking to my car. If the car was parked a little bit of ways, I would start that mantra, release and let go of everything that's happened today. This is not on me or my family. It stays here, and just do some breath work around releasing it and letting it go. Even just saying release, clear, cleanse, release, and let go while you do breath work, it does a lot for the brain. So it sounds and feels weird. So whether you do it in your head or say it out loud, I would actually say it out loud. Clear, cleanse, and release everything that's happened today. I do not want to take this home. My family deserves better. They deserve more than this frustration that happened here at work. I release and let go. So just take a few minutes, write down some of those that work for you. I talk through all that. Sorry about that. But our body is the biggest cue. So pay attention to your physical vessel. If you miss it, it's okay. Give yourself some grace. It's normal. It takes time to build. It still slips by me from time to time, but for the most part, I catch it now, which has made a huge difference in my emotional well-being, my emotional physical well-being. And not only that, my relationships are so much better because now I'm not snapping and biting people's heads off. So you become aware and you pay more attention to how your body is feeling so you can catch it and deploy these steps sooner than later. But if you have to do them later, do them later. They still help even after the fact. So take these next few minutes, do some breath works, and just reflect on what we've done. So deep breath in. Take your time. Come back to the meeting. Just take another breath. So how does that feel? Like you don't have to answer, just answer to yourself. Now I'm going to do just a little bit of a closing activation here. So connection is a practice. It's imperfect, and ongoing, but worth the effort. It doesn't happen by chance. It doesn't happen overnight. It takes time to remember to reflect on how your body is feeling and responding. It literally happens by choice. So by showing up, by pausing and choosing presence over and over again, you are going to be the driving force. You don't have to be perfect. Like perfection is an illusion, so to speak. I used to thrive on what I thought was perfection, and it will drive you crazy. So remember, it's not about being perfect, it's about being present in the moment, right here, right now. Commit to being the first in your family to take these steps, move forward with these steps. Feel the power that rises within you when you start controlling your reactions or your responses. So instead of reacting, which is an instant emotional response, you're now responding because you took a moment to reflect before you actually move forward. So before we close out, we are actually doing really good on time. So this is awesome. So before we close out, I just want to share a little bit about my journey so you can understand why I'm here, why I'm doing this, and how I got here. And those of you that know me, because some of you signed up for this, know me fairly well, know how frustrated and irritated I would get. I was described as being very passionate, but when the passion came out, it was that emotion reacting. So, one thing I had to learn the hard way was nothing changes. Nothing changed until I did. I had to choose to change it in order to get a different response, to get rid of the frustration and irritation, which was high for me. And it was impacting my relationship. I was the biggest impactor on our relationship when it wasn't great because I was so highly reactive and emotionally charged. And I couldn't change that until I chose to change it. I had to acknowledge it. And it wasn't until I did this type of work, and this is just 60 seconds, this is just a scratch of the surface. So it wasn't until I did this work that my daily frustrations and irritations started to subside and my body and nervous system started to relax. Even anger, like I had some anger issues. So it took a while for me to get there. It did not happen overnight. It can be subtle. So no matter where you are, where the source comes from, whether it be work, because work was a big trigger for me, your business, your home, your relationships, whether it be your spousal relationships, children, extended family, and your parents, grandparents, siblings, cousins, aunts, uncles, you name it, whoever's in your life, your friends, any of those relationships can be improved with this type of work and practice. And it all started with me, not them. And it's me doing this, they started to catch on and they started to do it too. So, because almost everyone I know I come in contact with is dealing with some level of frustration, irritation, stress, anxiety, overwhelm, etc., at some level, and one or more of these areas, but not everyone is willing to change. And that's where there's no right or wrong. Some find comfort in being able to get emotionally charged. And that's okay. That's entirely up to them. There's no judgment. But for those of you who are like myself and you want to shift that and you want to change it, I created safe spaces for ongoing support whenever you want to have access to the tools and the teachings and the information that I've gained over the years of doing this work for myself. And the best place for people to start, and I'm excited to share this with you, is January 12th. I'm launching my very first online program, and it does a much deeper dive into the presence and awareness piece because that's where it starts. I can't tell you how many programs and how much money I've spent on the skills and strategies, but they don't mean anything if you don't understand your emotional home and your emotional charges and your belief systems and your habits and what drives it all. You have to understand that and become aware of it in order to change it. So it's a 5-week online program, but it doesn't stop there because of my experience with online programs. I've added a bunch of extras. So you'll have access to 5 weeks, which doesn't take a ton of your extra time, just the lessons themselves, because it teaches you how to do partially what I just did here tonight. And that's how can you start taking steps through in your daily activities, what you're doing anyway, just become aware and start making notes and start making shifts. So it's 5 weeks of deep diving in awareness, but it also covers your habits, your belief systems, and how they all tie in together. And that is a 5-week program. You have access to an online community and virtual calls like these. So that's where I found a lot of my programs broke down. I didn't have additional support. It was just an online program. So if I had questions, I was hooped. I've taken all that away in this program. So 5 weeks, ongoing support, virtual calls, community access, all for $100. Now, I was told I should be selling this program upwards beyond $1,000 because just the community itself is worth thousands. And I thought, no, to start, I'm going to charge $1,000, but you get access to all of that up until launch day, which is January 12th for $100, a one-time fee, $100. That's it. So for $100 up until January 11th, you got to pay for it because it launches on January 12th and then it's going up full price from there. But you'll get access to the online program, free access to the community, which is normally a monthly subscription. You'll have free access to that. And you'll have the ongoing support with virtual calls like this, but the community is where you can come in and ask your questions. And it's all brand new. So that's why I wanted to charge 90% discount so that you could be my beta, my testers. And if you want access to that, I would love to see you come in. Like I say, it's $100 for you. You get lifetime access. So as I get feedback and I tweak and change it, you're going to have access to that. You're going to have access to the community for free for as long as you want to stay inside there. And all of that, like I say, for $100. So if you're so inclined, I will drop in the chat the links and the information. If you're on the replay, I'll make sure they're in the email so that you can fill out an evaluation form of what you thought of this whole session here today. So thank you very much for coming in and joining me. I can't thank you enough for that. And yeah, giving me your time. And like I say, if you want to join Ignite Your Personal Power, this is a launch program. It's my beta. I've put a lot of time and energy into it. It's taken a long time to develop, but I wanted to make sure everything was in place as far as the resources, the community, which is brand new. The program itself, brand new, but it's all from the experiences that I've taken. It's all from programs that I've taken on how to set it up to make it work for you. So it doesn't, the program itself is brand new, but it's not green. It comes from a lot of experience and a lot of doing. So you've got access to all of that for $100. So I really invite you to come into that. If you're not ready for that, because no pressure, this is just an option. It's a launch. You people signed up for this as a tool to be able to take away this information now. So I'd love for you to come in and go a little bit deeper. And it's a great way to start off your new year. We often have resolutions and word of the year. How long do they really last? This will help you understand why it's not lasting and help you create lasting change versus resolutions or words of the year. So, as a final note, I'm so honored that you all showed up here today, and those of you who are coming in on replay. One small action can compound into huge change. So, keep that practice of your pause, becoming present, and staying in the moment. Keep the curiosity open so that you can understand other perspectives and see from another lens. Because we're all doors, we're not windows. We can't see through, we can't understand what's happening. So always be curious, always ask questions, and lead. Be the leader for your family. Not just by what you say, but by what you do. Be that example. Step into your own personal power. And I hope you join me with Ignite Your Personal Power because it will help you excel and move forward much faster. So thanks so much for being here today. I can't thank you enough for joining me. I'm so excited you came here. And like I say, the replay is going to be available. So don't hesitate. If you got questions, reach out. I'll also have a link that if you want to book a one-on-one session with me, just to connect and touch base and just have a discussion. What is the best next step for you? Because Ignite Your Personal Power is the best place to start, but maybe you're not ready for that. Maybe the community would be fine. That's $10 a month. But I've also got group coaching for a deeper dive. But Ignite Your Personal Power is the biggest value right now. So take care, everybody. We'll talk again soon. I can't wait to see you, hopefully on the inside. Take care, everyone.